Well, yesterday's federal budget is still being number crunched and analyzed by many in this province. Here to give us her thoughts on how it impacts Quebec and Montreal is Maria Lily Shaw with the Montreal Economic Institute. Nice to see you again, Maria Lily.
Nice to see you too.
So, I asked this of the president of the Business School of Bishops yesterday. I'll ask the same thing to you. The budget came with this massive stimulus package of $100 billion over 3 years for post-pandemic recovery. But did the country and Quebec need this to get the economy going again?
Yeah, we're talking about an astronomical amount that is planned to be spent over a quite short period of time. And despite the fact that the pandemic isn't quite over yet, it's still questionable whether the economy actually needs such a significant amount to be rebooted, especially given the economic indicators that we've been seeing. For instance, Canadians have been able to save more over the past year thanks to other generous federal programs such as CERB, which could itself serve as a sort of preloaded stimulus that could be used once the economy reopens. Another thing is the housing market that's already showing signs of speculation and the fact that our unemployment rate is declining. So again, we have to ask ourselves, is $100 billion actually necessary to reboot an economy that's already showing signs of healing itself even without the stimulus package?
So are there risks then associated with higher debt that could outweigh the stimulus benefits?
Yeah, exactly. We have to be careful because this stimulus will, of course, be added to the debt. And as Quebecers and as Canadians in general, we are the ones that are responsible for footing the bill. And this spike in federal debt will or might cause Ottawa to have to increase its revenue, obviously, and it might be done through its sales tax. And that's exactly something that we do not need right now.
Yeah. A lot of emphasis yesterday on the National Childcare Program, a quarter of the money going to that, something akin to what we already have in Quebec. Do we benefit in any other ways from this since we already have our own childcare program?
Yeah, the benefits that Quebecers will pull from this program are still unclear because, as I quote, the program actually plans for an asymmetrical agreement with Quebec. So the benefits are still unknown for us specifically. However, it is a generous program, $30 billion over 5 years, and then a recurring expense of $8 billion. Now, the program is noble and economically sound. The federal government did do its research for this one because for every dollar invested in childcare or early learning, $2.80 is injected back into the economy. So this net gain of $1.80 is partly derived from the fact that these programs enable a greater number of women to participate in the workforce. So the timing of this program is rather perfect because we know from the reports that women especially have suffered with the pandemic, whether it's related to job loss or income loss. So this program might just help them get back on their feet. But we have to be careful because this recurrent expense of $8 billion a year is not an amount that can be ignored. And we want to make sure that every dollar is spent wisely. And one way to do this is to maybe do things differently. And what I mean by that is the plan currently wants to subsidize establishments directly. My suggestion would be to subsidize the parents directly. This would place the childcare network in a competitive market, ultimately, let's say, forcing the daycares to provide the very best quality of care they possibly can, which would then give parents a better bang for their buck, all the while ensuring affordability. The goal with this would not to be to reduce the cost of the program, but just to make sure that every dollar is really spent wisely.
Speaking of every dollar spent wisely, the Canada Health transfer was not quite what the premiers were hoping for. In March, they asked for a $28 billion injection. They got $4 billion. Given the current challenges with COVID, was this a fail on the part of the federal government?
Yeah, exactly. They got a $4 billion top off. Like you said, wasn't exactly what they were hoping for. They wanted $28 billion. That's what they asked for last March. We still have to consider the rather generous Canada Health transfer, which will amount to approximately $43 billion. And it's going to increase by 4 to 5% for every year thereafter, which is still faster than inflation. But this isn't necessarily good nor bad news because in the end, what truly matters isn't the amount that we receive, but rather what we do with those funds. So the province of Quebec has to, like you said, spend this money wisely. And the best case scenario is that our health authorities use this money efficiently. So in other words, it can't be wasted on bureaucratic nonsense that won't necessarily increase the efficiency of our healthcare system or the quality of care that we receive. And as we know, our healthcare system is in dire need of improvement.
So what's the most positive benefit of this budget for Quebecers, do you think, Maria Lily?
I'd have to say the fact that we learned that the federal government plans on keeping its promise to have every Canadian that wishes to have a vaccine be fully vaccinated by September 2021. And with the words they used, fully vaccinated, kind of gives the impression that he means both doses, which is even better in my opinion. And the reason why I say this is good news for Quebecers and, again, Canadians in general is because mass vaccination is really the most powerful tool for a strong and timely economic recovery and just to return to normalcy, really.
Yeah, a shot in the arm is a shot for the economy as well. Thanks so much, Maria Lily, for joining us again today. The full report and reaction to the budget will be tomorrow on the Montreal Economic Institute's website. That's at iedm.org. Thanks so much.